Okay, I'll tell you. Do you know the Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man.
Yes, I know the Muffin Man. Who lives on Drury Lane?
Well, she's married to the Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man!
She's married to the Muffin Man. My lord, we found it. Well, then what are you waiting for? Bring it in.
Who does know the Muffin Man? Well, I thought I knew the Muffin Man. Well, the story that originated the fairy tale. Turns out maybe I didn't. What I thought was a real story behind the fairy tale is actually just unconfirmed urban legend.
Good.
However, there are some fairy tales based on real stories or real people, and on this fortnight's episode, we are doing a medley of those tales. Welcome to Cheeky Real Tales?
We love a medley on this show.
We love a medley.
Medley.
All right, boy. It's customary for my episode to get all the banter. So let's
Let's bant. Where do you want to start?
let's bant.
PCs
Up
that
the
do work or don't.
Lions!
Oh, yeah, good one.
Go the Lions.
Did we even talk about that
I don't
prior
think so.
to it?
I don't think so.
Which is crazy because I am a huge AFL fan.
It was 4 weeks ago. It was before the AFL.
It was before the semis, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was before the AFL
Yeah.
final started.
I certainly didn't see it.
What a turnaround from last year. Lost by 1
Yeah.
point. to
Win by 60.
smashed them.
Yeah, huge game. And it was very fun to watch the Lions just systematically destroy the Swans.
It was excellent for once to watch a grand final that your local team is in. I'm not going to say my team that I support,
Yeah.
my local team,
The local team.
and not be worried about them losing because they are just smashing it.
Yeah. I had the same feeling when the Bucks were winning the Super Bowl and they just, I don't think they even gave up a touchdown.
Yeah.
You just get comfortable and
Yeah.
you can really enjoy it.
Yep.
And
Really
you just
enjoy it.
know that there's a group of people that are having the worst day and you're not
Yep.
because of them.
And it's also interesting because I was listening to the radio this week, and the radio show I listen to has like a trivia quiz, like 5-question quiz. One of the questions was, who won the men's BBL last year? And the person's like, the Sixers. Do you remember who won?
Was it Brisbane?
It was Brisbane.
Yeah.
We've totally forgotten Brisbane won. We lost 2 grand finals,
Yeah.
and then they finally won one for us.
Do you know why?
And we've
I
kind of
think-
forgotten about it.
I think because the BBL is so badly organized and run that whoever wins it is just whoever can manage to keep a team together for the longest. Like,
Yeah, we had a couple of international superstars come in, play a few games, and then they were on Australian duty at the final. So
Yeah.
I remember,
like you have these superstar players playing and then you get to the grand final and they all leave.
yeah, I do remember watching the video of like Usman Khawaja in his hotel room in India watching
Yeah.
the BBL final.
Yeah, and he played the semi.
Yeah.
How does that make sense? So I find it very hard
Obviously,
to care.
international duties are prioritised.
Yeah, but organise your comp around that.
They're playing all the time anyway, so it's a bit hard.
Yeah, but like they also played about 400 games last year.
Okay.
Or was last year the year they shortened it? Doesn't matter.
I think last year was the one they shortened.
Great for Brisbane. We've got 2 now. Broncos, let's not talk about that. And if you want to talk about teams we don't want to talk about, how about them Bengals?
We've got to win.
Yeah,
Like, wait, we're on a win streak at the moment.
you are. That's better than the Bucks. What are you, 4-1?
3-1, thank you. We haven't had 5 rounds yet.
True. The 5th round just started.
Yeah.
Well, the Bucks did win 2 to start.
Yeah.
And then lost the 3rd to the Broncos. And then
That's way better than losing to the Patriots.
that's true. They are a trash team. But then, yeah, the Bucks lost the game on Friday that I was side watching while I worked.
Yeah, all your friends are aware of what happened in that game.
How do you lose from that position?
So-
Anyway.
So we bring up the Bengals-Patriots game. Again, I know I asked you earlier about listening to Regulation Pod.
Mm.
They were doing an elimination pick type of thing.
Mm.
So the rules for that was like with their community. You pick one game each week and you pick a team to win.
Yeah.
Once that team's picked, you can't pick them again. and to see how long you can go through the rounds,
Yeah.
picking a winner each week.
And you can go all the way to the Super Bowl with that.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Andrew, first round, went, what's going to be a sure win? Patriots are trash. He picked the Bengals over the Patriots and they lost. So they were out first
Serves
week.
you right. Serves you right for backing the Bengals.
I really do feel like we're going to be 1-4 after this week because we're playing the Ravens. They're a decent team.
Yeah.
Mm.
But they're good for a rubbish loss too.
Okay, fair enough.
They should be undefeated, and they've only won 2.
Gives me hope then. Gives me hope.
Yeah.
I'm on a bit of a win streak in our fantasy league. I've got 3 in a row now.
Yeah.
Started off pretty poorly.
Yeah. I don't know how I'm going to do this.
No,
week.
I'm 3-1.
How
Sorry,
Aaron Rodgers goes tonight.
I'm 3-1. I lost my first game and then.
Oh, how about that from me? I think, wasn't it like round 1? I said, the Dolphins, it's too early for them to have a quarterback out with concussion.
Yeah.
And then like 5 minutes into the next game, he was out with concussion and hasn't been back. Yeah.
And you also picked Aaron Rodgers and then like 2 weeks later had an amazing game and like was the highest scoring.
And I had him on the bench.
I heard you bring up your PC earlier. We need to give the audience an update on your PC.
Yeah, so John came through for me. He found a pack of screws for that particular model that I hadn't seen that cost $3. So I went and purchased it that day and had the PC up and running the next day.
And then what happened?
And then
one company sent you a pack of screws like 2 days later.
I think it was a week later.
A week
or
later.
2 days later, I got the screws from the company that made the parts.
Mm-hmm.
And then this week, now 6 weeks after the fact, I got the screws from the company that I bought the parts from. So no thank you for that.
So how many spare screws do you have?
11.
There? You were missing one, and now you're in surplus
I had 3
of
from 4, and now I have 14. Yeah,
and since then you've also got your
15
local network computer running.
Yep. So I set up a home server. That took probably 2 weeks to get right.
Yep.
It would keep doing this. It's a file server, so like a home, like a big hard drive that's on your network. And twice it would fail in the middle of transferring files and just reboot itself. And one time I was like, I'll just cancel this file transfer because I was just doing it for speed testing, and that corrupted the entire thing, and I had to rebuild the whole thing.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. But that's up and running.
And what's one of the other major uses for that server at the moment?
Just, serious business.
Okay,
we're running a Minecraft server. I was like, what's another thing I could do with this? Hey, do we want to play Minecraft?
I am partaking in that server, but I just remember this a very expensive computer Aaron has built for himself with a top-of-the-line graphics card. And what is he playing on it?
Yeah, Minecraft. Yeah.
Look, could you have played Minecraft to the standard you are now on your old computer?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Easily. I have been using it for Space Marines as well, which has been taxing it, which is good.
Yeah.
So I'm not just playing crappy old games.
Space Marines is a new game that's quite demanding, and I'm glad you're having fun because there's so much lore in Warhammer 40k. It's again, just another nerdy thing that I've been into.
Anyway, I think that's it for chat.
I just got one more.
Do you?
Do you remember the shout out I gave to my mate in Wales?
Yes.
Yeah, I've had some feedback from him. He found it absolutely hilarious that you guys paid me out for the shout out.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Because he hadn't even listened.
No. But he has
just told him about it.
Well, he's clearly listened now because he knows about it.
I appreciate that he's listening.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You also haven't said his name.
I don't know his real name.
Cool.
I think it's
How's
Luke.
that?
No, it's Luke. I do know his real name. It's Luke.
Cheers, Luke from Wales.
Yeah, there you go. All right, on to the topic at hand. So we're going to quickly cover off the one that probably isn't true that we said at the start of the episode. If the internet chatter is to be believed. Oh, we haven't addressed that Sean isn't here.
Oh, yeah.
No Sean. No Sean this episode.
No Sean.
The part of Sean will be played by our mate Chat, GPT, this week. So
our mate Chat.
Any questions, we're going to flick it over to him and see what comes up. So, yeah, if the internet chatter is to be believed, the Muffin Man
nursery rhyme
was created as a warning for kids to stay away from Drury Lane.
So I'll be honest, I didn't know that was a nursery rhyme or a fairy tale.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just thought that was a bit.
From Shrek?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, obviously, Shrek, like we played the sound bit at the start of the episode, has a lot of those nursery rhyme fairy tale characters all in one. So, but yeah, so it's created as a warning. There resided.
Sorry. We've got the it's NRL grand final day. So the NRLW finals on, and they just cut to like a dad and his two kids, and the kids have their shirts off, just like,
Oh, that was a good kick. Let's just quickly say it was 24-0 to the Roosters at half time.
it was 24-0 when we started recording. It's now 24-18.
There is 20 minutes left in the game. It's 24-18.
Yeah, this is going to be a thriller.
The Sharks have come back.
Yeah.
So on Drury Lane resided Frederick Thomas Linwood, a baker turned serial killer. The legend goes he would tie a muffin on the end of a string and lure kids down the alley to their doom. Some stories also say not only were his victims kids, but rival bakers as well. And the Muffin Man's ending? He was allegedly never caught and died in his old age choking on a dumpling.
That's the way to go.
Yeah, but according to internet fact-checking website Snopes,
Definitely not true.
no record of Frederick Thomas Linwood was ever found, or a report of a multitude of children missing at that time.
Yeah.
Alas, let's get into some fairy tales with real origin stories, though. The Pied Piper of Hamelin.
Hamlin.
Hamelin.
Hamlin?
It's Hamelin, so I'd say Hamelin.
Yeah.
Hamelin.
Yeah. So the Pied Piper. I do know this one.
I was going to say, do we want a quick plot summary of this one? Because I don't know it as well as some of the other ones.
Don't you?
No.
Okay. Well, I mean, do you go into it, or
I've got it written down.
should I say what it is?
You go for it. If you want to go for it, you go for it. Let's get you involved in the episode.
Was it rats or something?
Rats? Yep.
Yeah. So they had rats in this town, and they were like, "We don't want rats in our town. What do we do about these rats?" And did they try a bunch of other stuff? Couldn't get rid of the rats.
I didn't go that deep into the summary, but
Doesn't matter.
Possibly.
Eventually, this bloke was like, "Hey, I got this pipe. What if I fiddle this pipe and I'll make all the rats follow me out of town, but you just got to pay me." And they were like, "Yeah, sick. We don't want these rats anymore." So he fiddled his pipe, and he got all the rats followed him. And did he drown him in the river or something?
Some of the ones say drown a river off the edge of the cliff, kind of thing.
So he gets rid of these rats, and he comes back to town. He's like, "Hey, how pretty sick was that? How about you give me that gold?" And they're like, "Out of here, chief. We're not paying you for that." And he's like, "All right." So then he comes back later and fiddles his pipe again, and all the kids follow him, and he kills the kids, right?
That is the nursery rhyme.
Yeah.
Yep. So firstly, do you know why he's called the Pied Piper?
Wearing pied or something?
Well,
I'm thinking plaid.
But what does that mean?
I don't know.
Okay. It's because he was wearing multicolored clothing.
Right.
So you could say this cushion, if it's in shot, is pied. I know this because it's a common term in birds. So like if you have a bird with multiple colours, i.e. a white and grey cockatiel, like the dad was a grey cockatiel and mum was a white cockatiel, the babies would be considered pied because they have both white and grey colouring.
Right.
So just because he had multicoloured clothing on.
I'm the pied podcaster. That was a lot of work for a very bad bit.
Yep.
Sorry, everyone.
This story has been seen many times throughout history. One such account is on a church of Hamelin's window. Unfortunately, that window was destroyed in 1660, but there are several written descriptions between the 14th and 16th centuries describing the window. It was noted that prior to 1559, the rats were absent from the story.
Right.
The earliest account comes from a manuscript discovered in 1936 in the Lüneburg archives. And on the last page of the Golden Chain, written in Latin, in roughly from around 1370, by monk Heinrich of Hereford, is the following eyewitness account.
Yep.
Here follows a marvellous wonder which transpired in the town of Hamelin in the Diocese of Minden. So it's a German town. This is
Minden?
Minden. Not the Minden from here. Like there must be
if that Minden's named after German Minden.
Possibly. Because,
Probably is, right?
Yeah.
That would make sense.
In this year of our Lord 1284, on the feast of St. John and Paul, a certain young man, 30 years of age, handsome and well dressed, so that all who saw him admired him because of his appearance, crossed the bridges and entered the town by the west gate. He then began to play all through the town a silver pipe of the most magnificent sort. All the children who heard his pipe, in a number of 130, followed him to the east gate and out of the town to the so-called execution place or Calvary. There they proceeded to vanish, so that no trace of them could be found. The mothers of the children ran from town to town, but they found nothing. It is written, a voice was heard from on high, and a mother was bewailing her son. And as one counts the years according to the year of our Lord, or according to the first, second, or third year of an anniversary, so do the people of Hamelin reckon the years after the departure and disappearance of their children. This report I found in an old book, and the mother of the Dean Johann von Lud saw the children depart.
Right. So they all just followed this bloke.
Yep. Disappeared.
But where's the bloke?
What do you mean, where's the bloke?
But where's he?
He gone. He left with them.
So they all just disappeared.
Yeah.
And no one ever saw them again.
Apparently.
Hmm.
There is a section of the town gate currently displayed in the Hamelin Museum. On one stone, there is an inscription. It reads, in the year of 1556, 272 years after the magician stole 130 children from the city, this gate was founded.
Right. Okay. So they built gates to be like.
Well, it just appears that this story is so ingrained in the identity of this town.
They use it as like a.
Yeah, as a marking point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, we don't use a calendar here. We just go years from children disappearing.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Right.
So it's very ingrained in their history, in their identity of the town. There's a few theories as to what happened to the children.
Yep.
The first is natural causes. So the large number of children happened to pass from a disease or starvation,
Right.
and the Pied Piper was a symbolic figure for death.
Okay. So it was like, instead of the hooded and cloaked guy with a scythe, it was this bloke fiddling his pipe.
Yep, he come and took the children away, you know?
Oh, here comes death.
Why were you...
Making my way down.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's Alicia Keys.
Yeah. The song of death. Making my way downtown, taking kids.
Making the vanish. Anyway, another theory is immigration.
Oh, no. John's going a bit Trump.
Oh, jeez.
They're eating the kids.
That I just realised what you said. The area was overpopulated.
How bad is that, by the way? They're eating the dogs.
And the cats.
It's just like the most bad thing I've ever heard someone on TV say. Anyway.
I mean, I did in the weeks prior to that see videos of people eating cats in the street on Twitter. That was a thing I did see. I'm not saying who it was or anything like that.
I don't necessarily think that it's true.
Who knows? In any case, it's crazy.
Yeah.
If it's true or if it isn't true, either way, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So the immigration theory is that the area was overpopulated and some people needed to move on.
So they just moved and everyone's like, oh.
Yeah. Well, apparently there was a large German contingent that helped settle Transylvania.
Sick.
And reports suggest that it was this 130 missing children. Because then there was also going into like lineages, and there was a lot of German surnames in Transylvania that matched up from Hamelin in that time. So it's one of the theories that they just took these kids and went and settled.
Yeah, right. Okay.
It didn't give any ages to the kids. You know, we could be talking like young, like 16 to 18-year-olds or 4, you know, like.
Yeah, true.
In that time, they're probably.
Yeah. But I mean, when you're at 14, that's like middle age.
Yeah.
In that time.
In the dark ages. Other theories include mass psychogenic illness from dancing mania.
Oh, yeah.
Which had an outbreak in the 13th century, including one in 1237, where a large group of children travelled 20 kilometres, jumping and dancing all the way. Sound familiar?
Yep.
Yep. Also theories that the children left to be part of a pilgrimage or the Children's Crusade, which also happened roughly around at that time.
Right.
Regardless, it seems the story of the Piper and the missing children are truth. It's true. Something
they
happened.
all just disappeared.
The parts that are under conjecture is why they went missing.
Yeah, understandable.
So that's it for that one.
Okay.
The next one, Snow White. And
Are we doing are we going to do a tally at the end of like true, false?
No, the rest of them are apparently true. I did one false.
Oh,
one
the whole
stuff.
thing is true.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Snow
I
White.
guess that's why it's cheeky real tales.
Yep.
Anyway. Yep.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Well, I included the Muffin Man because that was the original one that I read and went,
Yeah.
oh, that's a real thing. Let me do a story on that. And it turned out it wasn't.
Turned out it wasn't real. Yeah.
So seven White and the Snow Dwarfs. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Do you want to give us another recap?
Yeah. So this chick just goes and lives with 7 midgets. That's about it. Is she cursed? Yeah, she's cursed, isn't she, by some old hag.
Snow White is a beautiful young princess known for her fair skin and kind heart. Her stepmother, the evil queen, becomes jealous of Snow White's beauty. The queen possesses a magical mirror. Remember the magical mirror?
Magic mirror on the wall.
And every day she asks, who's the fairest of them all? For years, the mirror answers that the queen is the fairest, but one day names Snow White as the fairest in the land. Consumed by jealousy, the queen orders a huntsman to take Snow White into the forest and kill her.
Yeah, right. Okay.
However, the huntsman, moved by Snow White's innocence, cannot bring himself to do it and instead tells her to flee into the forest. Snow White eventually comes across a small cottage belonging to 7 dwarfs who live together. She befriends the dwarfs, whose names are...
Oh, man. I know Grumpy. Is there Doc?
Yep.
Sleepy?
Yep.
Happy?
Yep.
That's probably all I know.
Bashful, Sneezy, Dopey.
Right. How could I forget Dopey?
And they allowed her to stay with them in exchange for helping with household chores. Meanwhile, the queen discovers through her mirror that Snow White is still alive and living with the dwarfs. She decides to take matters into her own hands and disguises herself as an old woman. The queen visits Snow White and tricks her into eating a poisoned apple, which puts Snow White into a deep, death-like sleep. The dwarfs, heartbroken, place Snow White in a glass coffin. Time passes until a prince who had previously fallen in love with Snow White finds her, kisses her, and the spell is broken, reviving Snow White. The story ends with the prince and Snow White living happily ever after while the evil queen meets her downfall.
So, like, this story, right? It was the first one that Disney did,
Mhm.
right? This is like how Disney became Disney.
Disney, yep.
But why, if your intention is to kill her, would you not just kill her? Why would you give her this, like, curse that has an out of just, like, being kissed?
Makes a good story.
It makes a good story, but doesn't make a logical story.
So, the original fairy tale, which is derived from this is derived from the Brothers Grimm fairy tale. The Brothers Grimm one is much darker. So
They all are. The Grimm tales are pretty.
it's very similar in the build up. Snow White dies.
Yeah.
And it's actually the process of the dwarfs carrying her in the coffin over a bumpy road that revives her.
CPR.
Just dislodges the chunk of apple in her throat and
Oh, right,
CPR.
okay.
Yeah, so it's stuff like that. Yeah.
Staying alive.
So the
If
real
you don't know, that is the right rhythm, that song.
for
The right rhythm
CPR.
for CPR.
Yeah, which is 60 beats per minute. 60? Something like that. 120 beats per minute. Sorry. So the real story. It is believed that the Grimm brothers took inspiration from the story of Margaret von Waldeck. Boop. Another 16th century person from Germany. So the last story was from Germany. The Muffin Man was apparently in the 16th century. She was a countess, the daughter of Count Philip IV of Wildungen.
Wildigan. Probably. I don't know.
German names. She grew up in a political turbulent time and was sent to the court of Brussels when she was a teenager. This was common practice for young noble women as they would often serve in royal courts and to form political alliances.
Brussels is Belgium, right?
Possibly. Maybe. But it was... Margaret, according to city documents, was famous for her beauty. So it was like in city documents recorded that this lady was beautiful.
That's a level of beauty that I wish to achieve.
Yeah. And she caught the eye of the heir to the Spanish throne, Philip II. They had a bit of a Romeo and Juliet romance and faced opposition to their entanglement from both the Spanish and her family for political reasons. Tragically, young Margaret died when she was just 21, poisoned. It was suspected her death was orchestrated by those who saw her as a political threat, including Philip's father, King Charles V. Notable connections to Snow White are the following. Margaret had an evil stepmother.
Right.
Well, evil might be too strong of a word, but her stepmother, Katharina of Hatsfield, is thought to have been jealous of her beauty and may have mistreated her. The poisoning, obviously reminiscent of the poisoned apple.
Yep.
And I guess you may have one major question: where the dwarfs come from?
Yeah.
Her hometown was known for its copper mines that her father actually owned. The mine used child labour.
Yeah, right.
They were forced to work under terrible conditions. The children often had stunted growth due to malnutrition and the hard labour and were nicknamed by the townspeople dwarfs.
Right. There you go.
There may be a connection to the poison apple here too, as there is some speculation that an old man would offer tainted fruits to the workers and other children he believed that had stolen from him.
Okay. There you go.
So that's the kind of the...
That's like oddly specific for one of these.
Yeah.
Like where everything has like a direct, like there was apples, there was midget children, there was like, yeah.
They're all surprisingly kind of like that. So you might be...
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The next fairy tale we're going to look at is Rapunzel.
Ah, Rapunzel, let down your hair.
Are you wanting to recap this one, or do you want me to go through my recap?
I'll give it a recap.
Okay, cool.
So Rapunzel, another one of these ones. It's
Are you going off the Disney movie or the fairy tale?
Well, I actually don't know the fairy tale.
Okay.
Come to think of it, but I'm sure it's like similar.
It's very similar.
So Rapunzel, for some reason, it's like, oh, get up in that tower. You got to stay there until your one true love comes and rescues you or something, or like someone who's worthy comes and rescues you. Or maybe she wasn't even supposed to be saved. Maybe she was just meant to live up there forever until she died. But anyway, this bloke comes up. He's like, oi, only way I can get to you is if you let down your hair and I'll climb up it. And so she lets down her hair and he climbs up it. And then how they get down, I don't understand. Like, they got up there by her hair.
Mm-hmm.
They can't exactly climb down by her hair unless they use it, I guess, like an abseiling rope. Like she ties her hair up to the roof and then they abseil down. But at that point, why didn't she just do that?
I mean, surely she'd have to do that for the climbing up too. Because imagine someone climbing up your hair, like just on the edge of the window, like the neck strength.
She had dope lats, is what I'm hearing. Just triangle lats. Rapunzel, I can't see your head. Your lats are in the way. Is it lats? Or traps?
Traps.
Damn. Oh, well.
Add that to the list. Dumb things, you said. So you're pretty much there. So it starts with a poor couple longing for a child. And during the wife's pregnancy, she craves a plant called Rapunzel that grows in the sorceress garden. The husband steals some for her, but gets caught. And then the sorceress demands the child in return for the crime against her.
It feels like an overreaction.
So that's how Rapunzel...
You stole a snipping of plant.
Yeah.
Now give me your child.
So as she grows up, the sorcerer locks her in the tall, isolated tower with no doors or stairs. The sorceress visits...
How'd she get her there?
Sorceress visits her by saying the famous words, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair.
Mm.
One day a prince hears her singing from a tower, learns how to enter the tower by sneaking in the bushes and watching how the sorceress does it.
Yep.
They fall in love. The prince and Rapunzel fall in love. He plans to rescue her. However, the sorceress discovers the prince's visit. In a rage, she cuts off Rapunzel's hair and banishes her to a desert. The sorceress then uses the cut hair to trick the prince, and when he climbs the tower, she reveals Rapunzel is gone. Shocked, the prince falls from the tower and is blinded by thorns and wanders in despair. Eventually, he finds Rapunzel in...
thorns. Ouch.
Eventually, he finds Rapunzel in the desert, and her tears of joy restore his sight, and they return to his kingdom and they live happily ever after.
Also, she restores him.
Yep.
That's a nice twist.
The real story. This one draws upon an early Christian story around the 3rd century AD. A very wealthy pagan merchant had a beautiful daughter. It does not pay to be beautiful
Apparently not.
No.
You don't look disgusting. Must be a witch.
You don't want to be either end of the scale, do you?
Yeah.
He loved her so much, he refused to allow her to have suitors, and thus would lock her away in a tower when he would travel for business. The daughter, in her loneliness, converted to Christianity and would pray from the top of the tower, so loud, in fact, that the prayers could be heard throughout the entire town. Also, there were some workers that came to the tower for renovations, and she convinced them to construct 3 windows instead of the planned 2, the 3 windows representing the Holy Trinity. And she also snuck a priest in under the guise of a doctor and got secretly baptized.
Right.
Pretty rebellious stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I certainly haven't had 3 windows made instead of 2.
Eventually, the merchant father would be told of her conversion and he would take her before a Roman official who insisted the father behead her or forfeit his fortune if she refused to relinquish her newfound religion.
Yeesh. Again,
Overkill.
overreaction.
Yeah. I'm thinking you can guess the way this went.
He beheaded her.
He beheaded her.
Yeah, of course he did.
Little side note, it was said that the father was killed on his way home by a lightning strike.
Good.
He beheaded her and then on his way home, struck by lightning.
Good.
Bit of karma, right?
Yeah. Good.
So who was this damsel?
Mm.
She was then recognised as a martyr
Sure. Yep.
and was sainted. Saint Barbara.
Ah.
Yeah.
I acted like I knew who that was, but it's a cool
You
name.
might know who it is. So we'll get to the becoming a saint first. So like the rules for being a saint, martyr, in defense of the
gotta be
religion.
martyr. I thought you had
perform
to have some miracles. Yeah.
One of the stories say that Rapunzel flew around the room when she was being chased by a sword,
Right.
which, well, then why should she just fly out the tower?
Yeah, just get out the window.
Anyway,
She becomes a pigeon. Can't
apparently
work out how
at
to fly
her tomb, miracles happened there. So that
Oh, okay. So
that-
they're like, miracles happen where you're buried. That's you.
Yep. So Saint Barbara is now the patron saint of armourers, artillerymen, military engineers, miners, and others who work with explosives because of her legend's association with lightning.
Okay.
So if Sean was here,
Sean would probably know her.
he would definitely know of Saint Barbara.
Yeah, he'd be like, in the 17th Artillery Unit, there's 6 pictures of her and the new people have to wear them or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, the symbol of Sean's previous work career was Rapunzel.
There you go. Glad he isn't here for that.
Oh, I can't imagine what he's saying in his car or wherever he's listening, just like just slapping his head in anger.
Oh, Slappy. I love that he's taken to that.
That's good. That's usually how it works. You eventually come around to it. The next fairy tale. Not all seem to end awfully, though.
Oh, good.
The next tale is Cinderella.
Sick.
Again, do you want to have a crack at Cinderella?
Yeah, sure. So she lives with her stepsisters and they're like kind of bitches and they make her do all the work.
Yep.
And don't they normally go off to like balls and stuff?
Something like that, yep.
Yeah, and so she comes across is it a fairy godmother or something? Someone gives her a wish.
Yeah, so it says that Cinderella, despite her harsh conditions, she remains gentle and fair.
Yeah.
The king announces a grand ball to find a bride
Yep.
for the prince, and Cinderella wishes to attend but is forbidden.
Yep.
On the night of the ball, Cinderella's fairy godmother
Yep.
appears, and
she's like, "Oh, I'm going to make you look good for one night, but you better be home by midnight or..."
So she gives her the dress and what else?
Again, why put this weird time limit on it? Yeah.
But
anyway.
she's given the dress, and what else does she magic up?
The shoes?
It's part of the clothing. But the mice get turned into horses, and a pumpkin gets turned into a coach.
Right. Yep. So off she goes to this ball. Everyone's like, "Wow, look at her. She's clean." And that therefore makes her the most beautiful person here.
Okay.
And so she's like, "Oh, I'm going to go hang out with the prince." And he's like, "Wow, you're hot. How about you give me your number?" And she's like, "What?"
Dong! The midnight starts sounding.
Phones don't exist yet. And he's like, "Oh, cool." And then, like you just said, the ding dong, it's 11:59. And she's like, "Oh, I better scoot." So she runs away. And while she's running, despite all of her clothes turning back into normal crap, she loses her shoe. And the prince is like, "Oh, this is the only thing I've got left is this bloody shoe that for some reason hasn't also turned back into crap." and I'm going to go find her. And so he starts finding every maiden in the land and like touching their feet, which is a bit weird. No kink shaming. And then he's like, oh, your foot's too fat. Oh, your foot's too skinny. And the stepsisters, they're like, oh, check my foot, sir. And like they squish him in there and they can't fit. And eventually he finds her and he's like, great, come with me because your shoe's the right size.
Yep, you nailed it. Did you know in primary school I played Cinderella?
You played Cinderella. I played Lady Macbeth.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There you go. How progressive are we?
Yeah. It was a thing where we gender swapped all the roles. So the prince was played by a girl.
Yeah. I just did a silly voice. That was about it.
Well, no one else wanted to be Cinderella.
Yeah.
No. Anyway. So the Cinderella story is believed to be based on the story of Rhodipsis.
Okay. Great name.
This story is told by Greek historian Strabo.
Fantastic name.
Rhodipsis was a beautiful Greek woman. Again, another theme, just beautiful.
Yeah.
Who was captured and sold into Egyptian slavery. Eventually, she was freed and lived as a courtesan, a successful one, known for her grace and her beauty. One day, while she was bathing, an eagle swooped down and took one of her sandals. The eagle, realizing its error, dropped the sandal and it landed in the lap of the pharaoh.
Right.
Amazed by the beauty of the sandal and believing it to be a divine sign, the pharaoh ordered a search of the kingdom to find the woman who fit the sandal.
Oi, look at this sandal.
Yeah.
Imagine how hot the chick is that owns this.
Well, I think it was more along the lines of he took it as a divine sign that the sandal has fallen from above.
Okay.
So he searched the kingdom for the woman who fit the sandal, and Rhodipsis was found, and she was married to the pharaoh, and they lived happily ever after.
Yeah, cool. What a way to find love.
Yeah. So I went looking for this pharaoh, for who was married to this Greek girl.
Yep.
Armes or Amos II was quoted. So I looked him up. In his spouses, I couldn't find Rhodipsis. I don't know if her name was changed to like an Egyptian name because I know that was a thing.
Yeah.
But it was also said that the marriage kind of was not well looked upon because she was not from royal blood, so that may have not been recorded as well. Like,
yeah, she's just a side piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about one more fairy tale, boy? How are we going for time? All right?
Yeah.
Yeah. One more fairy tale?
No.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening.
Of course, boy.
Okay. Sure. This one you probably don't think has a real life background.
Yep.
Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah. Okay. When you told me this in the pre-show, I was like, yeah, I do not think that that's got a real story.
Are you well versed on Beauty and the Beast?
No.
Okay, good.
Isn't it? Doesn't she get like? Hang on. I vaguely know it. I've never actually watched any of the Beauty and the Beast franchise. The Beastiverse I'm not into.
Don't say that. That sounds weird.
Beastiverse?
Well, it's just the animated one and then the live action one with Emma Watson.
Yes. Isn't it that like there's this house and it's got the beast in it and all the local, like she's meant to be married to this dickhead and then the
Gaston.
dickhead,
Nobody throws like Gaston.
And then he's like a dickhead to the beast and she's like, screw you, and ends up locked in the house with the beast and then finds out that he's a nice bloke. And then everyone's coming to kill him and turns out he's actually a hot bloke in a suit or something.
Beauty.
Yep.
A kind and beautiful young woman. Lives with her father, a once wealthy merchant who's fallen on hard times. One day, her father gets lost in the forest and stumbles upon a mysterious castle. He picks a rose from the garden for Beauty. But the castle's owner, a fearsome beast, catches him and demands his life as punishment.
Wow. Overreaction?
The beast offers to spare the father if one of his daughters comes to live with him. Feeling responsible, Beauty volunteers to take her father's place. Beauty moves into the beast's castle and, though initially frightened by him, she is treated kindly. Over time, they develop a deep friendship. Every night, Beast asks Beauty to marry him, but she refuses, though she grows more fond of him. Missing her family, Beauty asks to visit them. The Beast agrees, but warns her to return within a week or he will die of heartbreak.
Wow. Okay.
What a softie.
That's a bit much.
Beauty's sisters, envious of her life, convince her to stay longer than a week. When she returns, she finds the Beast dying of sorrow. Realizing she loves him, Beauty declares her love and agrees to marry him. This breaks the spell, and the Beast is transformed back into a handsome prince. The prince explains that he was cursed by a wicked fairy and that only true love could break the enchantment.
Right. Again, don't give them these outs. Why are you making the outs possible?
It's a crappy story if there's no chance for a happy ending.
Yeah, all right, I'm overanalyzing. But
Yeah.
like, okay, if you're ever in the business of cursing someone, don't give it some possible out. Make it like, oh, you have to fly unassisted to Jupiter to break this curse. Like,
I am glad you're not an evil fairy or a witch or sorceress who's cursing people with these impossible...
well, like you just have to, like, come on, make it hard.
You have to fold yourself inside out to break this curse.
Yeah. Like, make it impossible. Why make it so easy? Why does it have to have an out? Just make it a curse.
You're a terrible human.
Great witch, though.
So the real story. Petrus Gonçalves
Great name. Yep.
was a man born in 1537 on the island of Tenerife with a rare condition called hypertrichosis.
Okay.
Hypertrichosis, which caused excessive hair growth all over his body, making him look like a wild man or beast. At age 10, he was taken to the court of King Henry II of France as a gift from Margaret of Parma, the regent of the Netherlands.
Here's a gift. It's this guy with a lot of hair.
Yeah. 10-year-old. There, instead of being treated as an oddity, he was educated and became a part of court life. Catherine de Medici, the king's wife.
Medici?
I think I chucked in an
were
extra. I think she was French or
Right.
Italian. That sounds
Anyway.
French, doesn't it?
Medici would be Italian, I'd
Yeah.
say. But anyway.
The king's wife.
Yep.
Well, she's the wife of the king of France.
Yeah, sure. She could be from
Anyway.
anywhere. Doesn't matter.
She
Go
probably
on.
got beheaded at the end of it anyway.
Right, bro.
So the king's wife arranged a marriage to a beautiful French woman named Catherine Raffelin. Despite their unusual circumstances, they had several children, and it was kind of considered a bit of an experiment to see if the children would get his condition.
Right.
Some did, some didn't.
Okay.
Gonçalves' appearance and his loving relationship with Catherine have been compared to the Beauty and the Beast story, as his beastly looks were contrast with his refined manners and intelligence. It was also said like the king was very impressed with his intelligence in the court, with
Right.
like matters and stuff like that. And their marriage symbolizes love beyond appearances.
Good.
However, it is considered the links to be more speculative than direct, but possibly an inspiration at least.
I mean, it's a nice story either way.
So yeah, there's more likely than not, it's just an inspiration to the original fairy tale of this beast-looking man, very hairy, but well-mannered and polite, and had a lovely wife and children.
I mean, it just sounds like a nice, wholesome story.
Yeah.
Good on him.
There's a few other ones that I didn't end up writing about. Bluebeard, ever heard of that one?
Nope.
Nope.
What about Hansel and Gretel?
I left that one out. That was considered a story potentially of real origin. Maybe we can do a part 2.
Maybe we do.
But that has been cheeky real tales.
I mean, haven't they all been real?
Yeah, pretty much. But as I said, you wouldn't. No one thinks of these fairy tales having a real origin or some sort of basis in human history. I guess if you think about it, they've got to start somewhere with
Yeah, it
people
has
making
to be
up
a story.
Yeah, making it up. So, we all know the Disney stories.
Yes.
I encourage you, if this has piqued your interest, go look up the Brothers Grimm versions, like the original stories.
They're definitely darker.
They're very much darker.
Don't include your children in this.
No.
Or do,
But
whatever
yeah,
trauma you want to give them.
I didn't realize a lot of these stories originated from Germany as well, because the Brothers Grimm
Yeah,
were
they're German.
German.
Yeah.
So-
Also, like that area is like has been around for thousands of years with people. So, I mean, I guess everywhere has, but
No, I found it super interesting. So, that's that. I don't have any more fairy tales to go into. Please share this podcast. Share this podcast with someone who loves Disney movies.
Yep.
The old ones. What's your favorite Disney movie, boy?
Hercules.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I enjoyed Hercules as a young fella. I'd say
Yep.
The Lion King's probably my favorite.
Yeah.
The original,
Lion King's good.
the original animated one. Oh, we lost
James L. Jones.
James Earl Jones.
R.I.P. to a real one.
to Mufasa and
Yeah.
Darth Vader.
Do you know that the bloke that was the guy in the suit for Darth Vader?
Yeah, he was English. He had like a really high pitched like pommy
Yeah,
voice.
he didn't know that he wasn't the voice until the premiere.
Yep.
You're like, oh, sick! I'm going to be on screen, and then nobody sees your face.
It's really
And your voice is cut out. And they don't tell you until you get there. What a dick move!
it's really strange watching like the unedited versions
Yeah.
where it's him just like
I'm Darth Vader.
yeah.
Ooh,
Bring me those plans now. I want to find them. And rather than
Yeah.
find those plans. Yeah, like that Darth Vader voice. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm Darth Vader. Ooh, spooky.
Like a you know how they made that sound, right? It's just scuba gear. Just someone breathing in scuba gear.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
And speaking of the Star Wars again, the blaster fire.
Oi, Luke, I'm your dad, isn't it?
Do you know how because you're an audio fire?
Yeah.
You know how they made the blaster fire?
It's
I've seen a video recently on this.
Yeah, it's like bits of it's stuff falling, isn't it?
Well, I
Pew.
think I think they were out on location somewhere and they were near a tower with like
Yeah.
high tensile like support wires.
Yes.
And he just hit it with a shifter. And it
Yeah.
was like, pew! And he's like, that's my blaster fire.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I thought it was that, or it was something being dropped on something.
kind of marble on glass kind of sounds like that, doesn't it? As like, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
How do they do the lightsabers? Because I know you probably would have studied that when you went to uni.
No,
right?
actually.
Oh, okay.
yeah, I don't know that one.
I think it was an audio feedback in front of a speaker. They were doing some sort of like a
Oh yeah, I could see that.
not a necessarily a
It's a hum, like it's a
not necessarily a microphone, but like a piece of electronic equipment waved in front of a speaker
Yeah.
that would create that.
Yeah. There you go.
Cool. Anyway, somehow we got on to Star Wars at the end of that.
Mm.
Favorite Disney movie? Get share this episode with
I
someone
mean,
who
Star Wars is Disney now. So.
it is Disney. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone who favorite Disney movie.
There you go.
But yeah, find all our socials.
Comment your favorite Disney movie.
Thank you. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Some interactivity.
Maybe we'll even do a poll somewhere.
Oh, yeah, nice. So yeah, you can find our socials at Cheeky House Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and X. It's X now. You got to
It's
give
been
up.
long enough. I'm giving up.
Yeah. Are we on Reels?
No. I mean,
not Reels.
Instagram.
Threads.
I don't think we are.
You know, we're old. We're not on the latest social media platform. I'm not on Threads. Are you on Threads?
I'm not on Threads.
Nah.
I started a Threads. I
did you?
took about 15 minutes looking at it. I don't think I've ever opened the app again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're not on Threads. But if you're listening or watching, you know us. You know where to find us on the podcast platforms or YouTube.
Yep. Wherever you get your podcasts.
Please share that, though. We would like to expand our reaches. We've just started touching Wales. We've got a little foothold in England. Let's get out there
Yeah. Fill up Europe.
and grow this community.
Share this cat. Yeah.
Not for us, for the cat.
Yeah. Share it for little Polo. The camera, you dickhead. This way. Just look over here. Whatever. You've seen him.
But yeah, that's this fortnight's episode. We'll be back next week with Aaron's episode.
Ooh, spooky.
It is the Halloween special.
Oh, so spooky.
Are you bitching out on this, or are you doing a Halloween?
Doing it.
Okay, good. Because you did say last episode you would.
I was working on a Weasel Way Out, and
Okay.
then I decided, no, I'm going to do it.
Good. This will be your first themed episode.
It's not.
Oh, special episode.
No.
What
I
was-
did a theme episode.
What?
Remember the opener was that I stole an episode out of your cold dead hands or something?
No,
Yeah, I did. I did one earlier this year. I can't remember which one it was.
Valentine's Day.
Might have been Valentine's.
But that was kind of like a combined thing where
No,
we.
I think Sean was here. I don't know what it would have been. Doesn't matter. Well, someone will tell us in the comments.
Well, it's Aaron's first Halloween episode, and
Yeah,
because he
spooky.
gets the Halloween episode, should mean he gets Christmas as well. So
Maybe.
that's how it's worked for me for the last.
Ooh,
2
Santa
years.
Claus.
Oh, you bite.
All right. Well, good episode, boy.
Thanks, boy.
We'll see you in a fortnight.
See you in a fortnight.
Good night.
Good night, Chiquitos.